This week in class, students have been collecting numerical data and organizing this numerical data in a line plot to be able to represent it. So we were able to count the typical number of raisins in a raisin box. We were able to compare our fourth grade heights in inches to first grade heights in inches. And we've been able to look at different types of line plots during our teacher time rotation. This is an example of two of the line plots that the students were able to look at and view during our teacher time. And here's an example of kindergartners' number of cubes grabbed in one hand compared to our third graders' number of cubes grabbed in one hand. So when looking at line plots, I like to ask the students a couple of questions about things that they might notice. The biggest thing about line plots is being able to recognize what the numbers on the number line represent versus what the X's represent. So I tell the kids, if you can find the title of the line plot, that will tell you exactly what the data is about. So the top line plot, kindergartners, number of cubes grabbed in one hand, those numbers are the cubes and the X's are going to represent the students. Same thing for your third graders. The numbers are the cubes and the X's are going to represent the third graders. So questions I might ask them, for example, is, what is the most typical result as far as pulling number of cubes for your kindergartners? And they would say 5. And I would ask them, well, why would you say 5? And they say, because most students pulled 5 cubes. If I ask the same question for third graders, what occurred the most often, or which cubes pulled occurred the most often, they would tell me 11. Because again, 11 had the most students that pulled it. I also ask questions about what was the highest number pulled or what was the lowest number. And in this case for kindergartners, they would tell me the highest number pulled was 11, not 12, because there was no data. No student pulled 12 cubes, so they'd have to tell me 11. Whereas the third graders, the highest number that was pulled was actually 12. And then we would compare the lowest number pulled. So for kindergartners, your lowest number was a 2, and comparing to third graders, your lowest number was also a 2. Other types of questions I might ask the kids are, what is the range of the data? And the range is the difference between your highest number and your lowest number on the line plot. So for your kindergartners, your range difference would have been 9 cubes, because 11 and then the 2 would give you 9. For third graders, your range difference would have been 10, because the highest number was 12 and the lowest number was 2. Kids are also going to be asked questions such as, what's the shape of the line plot? Was it a spread out with the data? Where was the most concentration or clumps in the data? I'll also ask them questions about outliers. Was there any data that lied out and was really far away from the rest of the data? So they've been doing a really good job with these. They have a lot of background knowledge on line plots, and so far have been doing a great job. So this is just an example, just so you're aware of what they're going to be doing in class and how to actually read a line plot. So I hope this was very helpful.